All right, welcome to Assets and Algorithms, the show where we explore the intersection of real estate and technology. My guest here today is Neshera Nasir from Niche Assets. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's nice speaking to you. Like I was telling you, your energy is so zen that I'm like, you know what? I'd love to talk to him.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm excited for this conversation as well. Your mission is amazing. It really resonates. And, I'm excited to dive in. So I want to start with asking you to just share how your role fits into that mission of helping women of color step into ownership and legacy, and what inspired you to build it.
Well, to begin really my life, and I feel like most people, that's where it begins. Their experiences create this like urge to do something. And I realized women of color and even just busy professionals in other fields, even if you say men and women, both struggle with building wealth because we're like constantly in this rat race to get that check, pay our bills, and then go back to work. So I was a therapist for 9 years. I still am. I'm still licensed. And I realized, when I was doing therapy, it almost kind of slowly began feeling like I wasn't just there to help people, but now I had to worry about my bills and the people I wanted to help. I couldn't because if they didn't have enough money to pay or something like that, I would have to take a personal financial loss in order to give services sometimes. And it clicked in me. I need something that builds me wealth versus something that I'm doing to help people. And real estate was always something that interested me. I think it interests all of us because how stable real estate can be as an investment if you calculate it correctly. Um, so then I started meeting all of these people that I was, women especially, who were like, they were, new moms or they've been married for all of these years, haven't worked, their children went off to college, or women who have been in the mental health field or other fields that have nothing to do with real estate. And people directly think the real estate and think corporate. But I'm kind of here to I kind of have that definition go away in a sort, because for me personally, it started a little corporate, but then I was like, oh no, I didn't get into real estate to lose more time in my life. I got into real estate to buy more time back. So I took a step back and I was like, you know what, none of this corporate stuff anymore. I'm going to just focus on investing and teaching people when they ask me. I don't need this to be a full-time job. I'm just building my personal portfolio and I'll answer questions for others. And that just kind of took off. And I met women and men who needed support investing. And some people were actual retired investors who didn't want to invest anymore and do like the legwork and all of that. They wanted someone to partner with they can trust, who they can transition all of that stress over to. And then just like that, it just became something that people who are too busy to invest, I was like, hey, I love real estate. I have the time, I have the energy. This is my thing. And I have the team, especially. So I was like, I'm happy to partner with you. So we discussed multiple different partnerships up, and sometimes even where they're just fully getting coached. So we have like a 50-50 split. I'll coach them, teach them while we're doing it. And other people are like, I have twins, or I can't handle it right now. You got this. And they just give me capital and I keep them updated throughout the process. So they're fully passive. So being able to offer both of those spectrums has really kind of made me proud of myself and my team. Team's definitely given me the time to be able to not to focus on relationships and partner relationships, and they are doing all the admin stuff. I just have to kind of look it over. So that's been my little adventure. I know all of us have crazy stories, and growing up my mom was very dependent on my dad, and he just my dad's a multimillionaire. He decided one day he didn't want to do the family thing anymore. He's been MIA for over 14 years. And I saw my mom having to take care of the three girls that she had, me and my two sisters, and she didn't know how to. She was just a mom for so long, and that's an amazing mom for that. And being a mom is hard. But the financial side of it, and because she was so dependent, we had to go through way too many obstacles that we could have potentially avoided. And that triggered me to just be independent. At one point, I was too independent, and I had to learn to be interdependent with my husband and allow him to do stuff for me, and that's kind of the complete backstory. And yeah, a little bit of a trauma, created this, but I think that's the story for everyone, right? All of our superpowers come out when something really intense happens in our life.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I think that, challenge creates triumph, and it's definitely evident in your story and in your journey. You touched on a little bit about, financial education and, helping some of your clients and your students learning more about that, but also finding off-market deals. So I imagine no 2 days look the same, but tell me, what does the typical day look like for you right now, and how do you stay grounded in the bigger vision?
That's a really great question. I think a typical day is very different for me, but general gist of it, if I'm home, working from home, then I kind of get all of my admin stuff done within the morning span and then leave any meetings or anything for the afternoon. And I try to get my day done by 7, 8 o'clock, unless there's like a contract or something that has to be sent out. Then, of course, real estate has no actual time. But when you think about it that way, although it gives you the freedom to work whenever you want, you just have to be disciplined. So other than that, when I have an active deal going right now, I have a renovation going on in Georgia, and it's a multifamily. So I've been traveling every 2 weeks to Georgia, spending a couple of days there, and then work looks like working from a hotel, and then going and meeting contractors, driving back and forth. Sometimes, if it's a city that I have friends or family, then maybe I'll visit friends and family and work from their house or something like that. But it's never like this 9 to 5, but I try my best to keep and block out. And time blocking, one of my friends, Tiffany, and I hope she sees this
Mm.
video, she's a productive coach, production, yeah, a time management and productive coach. And she taught me, she's like, block out the time, go on your calendar, turn it gray. And that time, you don't have to input any specific task you're doing, but right there and then you're working on real estate, right there and then you're working on your skill building, right there and then is personal time. It allows you to move it around and you don't have to micromanage yourself as much. So I try to just be disciplined with uh, inputting some sort of just focus time in my schedule, even if that's 2 hours or 10 hours.
I love that. I think that's very important to focus on productivity and implement those time blocks. I do the same thing. I have time blocks for all types of things on my calendar every day. So I love that. And I find that one of the things that also helps me a ton with productivity and keeping the schedule together when things are all over the place, especially when you're moving around from city to city and town to town handling business, are some of the technology tools that we use, right? So I'd love to hear about some of the tools you use and how technology, social media, AI, whatever it may be, has impacted your ability to grow and educate your community.
Yeah. So I'm a little old soul, but I do use technology and I believe in it. Social media, I have to constantly be forced by my team because they're like, go make content. I'm like, okay, okay, fine. Real estate is definitely my thing. Crunching numbers, finding deals, even just decorating part of. So social media has been a little hard for me. And for that reason, I think tools are so important. I time block, of course, and I use management tools like Asana, of course, Google Calendar. Some of my other businesses require Outlook. So it really depends on which business I'm doing. If I'm working with media persons or marketing persons, I know a lot of them love ClickUp. So I've been introduced to that. But my team, we are fully on board with Asana. I love it. It lets me break down all of my projects. If I'm working with other people outside of my team, it actually lets me add them on there and they have access to everything. We kind of keep track of everything. I have ADHD, so I need to stay organized. What else have I been using? I think those are like my three main things, and it keeps me focused. Yeah, and sticky notes.
Always helpful, always helpful. Okay, I love that. I think being able to have that team that pushes you to find those efficiency hacks is always great as well. And it leads to wins, right? So you've had some exciting wins recently. I saw that you highlighted a 16 unit multifamily property in Florida. And I just wanted you to talk a little bit about what's working really well for you and what's been a little bit frustrating.
What's working really well, I would say, utilizing the BRRRR method, which is you purchase a property, you rehab, you rent, refinance, repeat. So those are all the R's. And the reason why I've been finding it beneficial, a lot of people are from out of state or out of the country. Actually, have surprisingly a lot of sellers who are from Canada. They're selling. And when I do this, most of these properties aren't very well taken care of. So I can force appreciation by renovating them and then take out the renovation loan from the bank itself and kind of just resell it to myself. So I'm doing a fix and flip, but I'm flipping it back to myself. And when I cash out refinance, I'm able to recycle that money onto another deal. And yeah, the cash flow for the original deal may be a little lower, but that's allowing you to now buy another deal. And when you calculate everything together, you're making more money than you could have possibly made with that one deal. So most of my partnerships, my partnerships for 7 years now, etc., they are now we don't really put in a lot of our capital, our physical capital into the deal. We just continue to do that. And when we cash out, use that money and buy another properties. That's definitely worked for me, and it's one of my favorite ways.
Awesome, awesome. So, can you talk a little bit about impact? I know that really matters for you. You sound like a mission-driven person. You talked about working with busy moms and dads who are looking to break into the industry. What would you say are the key success metrics that you measure your progress on beyond the profit?
My metrics that I'm making progress on beyond the profits. I
Mhm.
think in general, along with Niche Assets, I represent Greater Horizon, which is a mental health nonprofit, and they fund mental health treatment. So all of the fund, like 1 to 5% of the money that I generate when I close a deal, commission, finder's fee, you name it, whatever it is, I contribute that to this mental health mission that I have. So it's two different industries, but it's one of the industries that I know. I remember when I was really depressed and I was going through so much and just everything around me was breaking. I knew I needed to get professional help. And without mindset, I don't think you can ever succeed. My biggest mission is, the money that I'm making doing this corporate things and real estate and just something completely different that crunches numbers. I'm trying to use some of that money to give back to the community and help people fix their mindset and their mental health. Then they can get to a point where you can be a career person and focus on anything else. And then the second biggest way is I'm not a negative, like someone can come to me and our minimum is 70,000, but 70,000 contribution to join as a partner. And if someone comes to me and they're like, I just graduated college and I want to do this and I only have 20 grand, I will sit with you and I will figure out a plan for us, whether that's me putting more capital in or us having a long-term goal or whatever it is, I'll figure it out because I think it really is a mindset thing. So for me, making sure someone knows that they're supported is the biggest thing for me because that's what mattered to me the most and helped me grow. Yeah.
I think that's amazing. It's a really strong mission to be able to help people mentally because that's where the change starts, right? You get that education, but you also understand that keep your mental health together so that you can last long and have that endurance to go far. So looking ahead, where do you say to yourself if you think I want niche assets to be here in 6 to 12 months? What kind of legacy are you hoping to build long term?
And I'd love for it to be as self-sustaining as possible. It is a dream for that, obviously, because real estate requires a lot of attention. But I'd love to eventually have a larger maybe team, and I want to say large, like corporate office large, but maybe 10 to 15 people who each have a specific department. Someone works in accusations and someone works in admin, someone works client relations. So one person doesn't have a ton that they have to do. I'd like to continue. And right now I do offer my team members equity shares. If they bring on board anyone or they want to be a part of a deal, I always allow my team, aside from me paying them hourly. I'd love to expand on that and give more benefits to the people who are helping me build these portfolios and just Keeping it as simple as possible. I think a lot of people want this big, 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 big picture, and then you have to worry about all this stuff, and you just now sold your time right back to what you try to get out of. And I'm not gonna lie, I almost got there. A couple
Hmm.
of years ago, I was just every day I was outside in networking conferences and this and that, and just so many things, and I had no time to just chill out. And I was like, "Well, dude, you got into real estate to buy back your time. You're now just running back on this hamster wheel." So I'd like to, no matter how much we expand, I'd like to always keep it a cozy company, if that makes sense.
I definitely respect that. I think, yeah, being able to grow that impact, but stay lean and and efficient is a super great goal. And I'd love to see that growth out from your company. So let's zoom out a little bit. I want to ask you about, because you are an expert in this industry. Let's say we filter out the noise in the real estate space and talk a little bit about how you do that and how you've been able to carve out your lane and what major shifts you see in real estate investing, especially for the communities that you service.
Yeah. Major shifts, I think, with everything else, like stocks and crypto and all of these other things that people invest in being so volatile right now. I think most people are going to be comfortable. And personally, for me, it sounds like unless you buy gold or real estate, everything else is way too volatile right now. So I think that's a major shift that's already been happening, and now it's going to be more prominent with what's going on in the economy. So I've been definitely trying to tap into that and make real estate investing my main priority. When I zoom out, I think in the beginning, I really needed to try out different strategies. So, short-term rentals, what type of short-term rentals am I doing? Mid-term rentals, what type? Am I doing? Am I making a theme so people are attracted to themes? Am I going to get creative and market it differently? Long-term renters are super easy. They're just the basic things that our parents did and our grandparents did. We have all these new strategies that are coming up that are, the people before our generations, they didn't have all of these strategies or all of these AI systems and apps and softwares, Airbnb, Verbal, there's so much that you can do with your real estate now. Even renting room by room, student housing has been a fun project for me. I just started it and it's been amazing. And I love it because just like I know what it was like to be a student, and it's fun just creating a space that's safe enough for college students and just like seeing people thrive and of course making money, right? That's that's
Mhm.
awesome. So I think that having all of these options makes it really much more interesting and a larger chance for you to succeed in real estate investing. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a ton of volatility, and I for sure see a ton of people coming to real estate as a safe haven to escape that. So I love that, being able to have those strategies. Last question. If you could wave a magic wand and remove one major barrier, whether it be for you or your audience, what would that be and why?
Magic wand, one major barrier. I think making, and this is for me and my audience and my partners, making it a little more accessible, funding more accessible for people who want to be
Mm.
homeowners and or investors. I would definitely do that. Just I think they make it too complicating for people. Now, as I'm saying this, I know you didn't give me two magic wands, but I would add educating young people from like putting this in high school, learning how to invest in high school. That would be a game changer for our entire economy, I think, and the whole world.
Yeah, I think that's a great, great point. Being able to teach people at a younger age about investing and getting educated on financial literacy and, just ways that they can live great lives without having to overkill themselves, right? And they'll be able to focus more on family and things of that nature, bringing humans together. I love that answer.
Again, being human again, we're just kind of losing touch with that, which is weird, but yeah.
Right. And I think that ties back into mental health, like you said, you'll be able to have a clearer mind and be more relaxed. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. This has been a great conversation. I love everything that you're doing and your company and what you're providing to the marketplace. I want to give you this opportunity to let people know where they can find you, where they can reach out to you if they want to be a part of it, if they want to invest with you, or just continue the conversation.
Yeah, of course. So my Instagram is at Neshera.n, and then my LinkedIn also, Neshera Nasir. Honestly, no one has my name, so people can just Google Neshera Nasir, and you can reach out to me on any of my platforms. You can email me, Neshera at nicheassets.com, and it's Niche Assets. And
Perfect. So thank you again for joining me today, Nishara. And this has been another episode of Assets and Algorithms.
thank you, Derek. You've been amazing.
Thanks.